Hey guys, I'm back with another candle review, and this time around for the 18-ounce 4-wick Harvest Donut Candle from HomeWorx by Slatkin & Co. I did indeed purchase this candle myself on HomeWorx.shop. The notes on this read fresh pumpkin, donut, accord, ginger, and clove. So yeah, I was excited for this one because I was hoping for like something similar to the old pumpkin sugar donut candle from Bath & Body Works that I loved a lot, and it's never come back. So I was hoping for something like that. This is not quite that. So what does it smell like? I feel like it's a more diluted, more basic version of their hot cider donut fragrance, which hot cider donut is also very similar to sugar beignets and the cinnamon French toast fragrance. So I'll make comparisons to those as well. But yes, it's kind of like a more basic, creamier, less spicy version of hot cider donut from HomeWorx. So you get that same like cake donut accord fragrance that you get in hot cider donut. It's definitely like present in Harvest Donut here. Very similar to that same donut note that Slatkin & Co. created back with cinnamon sugar donut, which is now known as cinnamon spiced vanilla. Same donut note that we like all know and love. I feel like this one's maybe not quite as greasy as cinnamon sugar donut or hot cider donut. So it's not quite as greasy as those two. It's a little bit less just less, less nuanced, I guess, than those versions. It's a little bit more basic, but it's still very much a similar, like just donut fragrance. Very, very similar to the donut fragrance in old-fashioned cider donut from BBW, if you're familiar with that. So you get that first and foremost. Then you get a little bit of a sweetness to it that still kind of smells like a apple fragrance. It still leans more like apple cider donut than pumpkin cider donut. So it's very similar once again to old-fashioned cider donut from BBW. Very much like similar, like I guess apple-ish type of fragrance. It's not overly apple, but like a implied cider donut type of fragrance is definitely in there. And then that's pretty much it. There's a little bit of a spice that's like a sugared cinnamon spice, and then a little bit of like a glazing sweetness in there as well. But what I feel like is missing is like a heavy, distinct pumpkin presence to it. There really isn't much by the way of like a pumpkin fragrance. Like you don't really get like pumpkin clove or sweet cinnamon pumpkin or like anything really overly pumpkin-y in this, which is what I'm kind of, I guess, bummed about. I feel like pumpkin sugar donut from BW had a much stronger like spice blend in there. This one, the spice isn't quite as strong. It's a little more diluted and just weakened overall, and it's just more like the cider donut, just regular generic like cider donut type of fragrance is what I get from this. It's still scrumptious and delicious, but I guess I was hoping for something a little bit more unique or a little bit more pronounced with that pumpkin fragrance. You just really don't get a whole lot of like a pumpkin vibe in this, and it's just more just like a very much like old-fashioned cider donut from BBW is kind of what I get from this. So that's pretty much what it smells like, comparing it to all the other ones. So hot cider donut, at least the original American version, had a little bit more of a pronounced fermented apple cider note in this, in that candle that this does not quite possess. So it's not quite as appley as that one. It's also not quite as greasy as hot cider donut, and it's not quite as cinnamony sugary as hot cider donut. So it's just like a diluted version of hot cider donut is basically what it is. Compared to sugar de beignets, sugar de beignets had a little bit more of a butteriness to it, and that one also had a more stronger cinnamon and powdered sugar note. It definitely had a powdered sugar prominence to it that this does not have. And lastly, cinnamon French toast has a much more stronger buttery fragrance to that one as well. And the cinnamon was really amped up on cinnamon French toast that it was borderline like red hot cinnamon, but still sugary enough, but a very prominent, sharp, intense cinnamon note was present in cinnamon French toast, mixed with this awesome, like just decadent, gooey, buttery note that was really delicious. So they're all very similar. This one's probably the most basic and lacks the cinnamon, lacks the spices, sort of lacks the butteriness. It's a little bit just more like vanilla and creamy and just kind of there. So that's the best way I can describe it in comparison to all the other ones. I think cinnamon French toast is probably my favorite in terms of just like strength and just like sharpness and awesomeness. Hot cider donut has gotten a little bit more weakened or diluted as the years come by, but that one's still much better than this one. And sugar beignets is just kind of like a sister fragrance to hot cider donut with a little bit more of a like powdered sugar emphasis on it. They're all just very similar. You have to like really nitpick every single one of them, but I feel like both cinnamon French toast and hot cider donut I prefer over this one. This one I feel like is just kind of like a reduction in what those fragrances offer. So yeah, I guess if you don't like the heavy spiciness or the heavy greasiness, then this one maybe would be really attractive to you. So that's pretty much it for the fragrance. Let me go into the performance. I've been burning this one either 3 or 4 times at this point. Very sooty, high, vicious flames. I trimmed them and they still soot by the end of the first hour. So definitely keep on top of the wicks on this one because they do soot quite excessively. But at least it's not deading out, so we're good to go there. As for the throw, I would say it's not as strong as like cinnamon French toast was, but kind of on par with some of the weaker sugared beignets and the more diluted versions of hot cider donut that we got later on. I would say anywhere from like a 4 to a 5. It's not super strong and it's not going to hit you in your face, but you can still smell it and it's still very pleasant when you walk into the room. So yeah, anywhere from like a 4 to a 6 depending on where you're at. So definitely in just like the medium range, but still pleasant and present and noticeable. So we're good to go there. But yeah, it's not like, super strong like a pumpkin pecan waffles or anything like that. So that's pretty much it for the performance on this one. Overall, I feel like hot cider donut captures sort of the greasiness and the like cinnamon sugar spices a little bit better than this one does. This one's just a little bit sweeter, it has a little bit more of like a glaze emphasis on it, and just less spicy and less greasy, and very similar to old-fashioned cider donut from BBW. I wish there was a little bit more of like a spicy pumpkin-y, like a ooey gooey pumpkin pie filling type of like sweet cinnamon pumpkin type of like pumpkin presence. I wish was stronger in here, but that just doesn't really exist, at least to my nose. So kind of one and done. I guess if you're just really jonesing for a hot cider donut and you can't get it anywhere, this one's like the next best thing to it. But kind of just like a run-of-the-mill cider donut type of fragrance. Not bad, but I feel like there's just been different variations done before that might have been a little bit better than this one. So that's pretty much it. Let me know your comments down below, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.